Hey everyone. Trying out something different with his passing thoughts. I'm not going to focus on a particular aspect of a game or do a mini review. I just want to talk about how much I'm enjoying Sekiro. If you followed my channel, you know that I love playing character action games, as well as stealth games, and Sekiro scratches both of those itches for me. As much as I enjoy Demons and Dark Souls, I've been burnt out on those games since I beat Bloodborne last year. I got sick of corpse walking, sick of stamina management, and sick of having to dodge most enemy attacks and wait for opportunities to chip away at a boss's health meter. Sekiro throws out all of those things that I dislike in Souls games. Well, not all of them. I don't like Dragon Rot and how it seems more threatening than it really is. It feels like it's there because every Souls game has to have some bullshit for the player. Demons had World Tendency, Dark Souls had Curse, Bloodborne had Frenzy, and so on. Something in the game always has to be either obtuse or annoying. Or that's how I see it. Other than that, I love how Sekiro feels the most removed from any of the other Souls games. The NPCs are straightforward and don't do a suspicious laugh every time they talk.
That accursed Gyobu's finally a corpse, I take it. That changes nothing, you know. There'll be more wars, there'll be more corpses, and deep-seated hatred will run wild. Where's all that hatred go? Haven't you ever wondered? Guess not. Guess you haven't. That's why I pity you. And I pitied him.
You get a dedicated jump button. How am I going to go back to Dark Souls after this? Hell, you can pause the game and not worry about getting attacked. And the combat is so good. I was disappointed in Bloodborne because I thought that using guns to parry enemies meant that you could parry big monster attacks, but some bosses never really gave me that opportunity. And boss health pools in Bloodborne felt so bloated that every fight felt like a slog for me. Thank goodness for the posture and health systems in Sekiro. I don't have to completely chip away at a boss's health meter anymore. Some bosses take more posture damage than health, and vice versa, so boss fights become a puzzle for me as to finding out the best way to rush down a boss. If I have any complaints over the system, it's that I don't like how taking hits deals both health damage and posture damage. I feel like posture damage should only occur if you're blocking, since health affects how easy or hard it becomes for the player and the enemies to recover from posture damage. I am all for the deflect mechanic in Sekiro. I love how it does parries compared to, say, Metal Gear Rising, because there's no directional input required. You just tap the block button as a hit comes in to deflect instead of block. When I told a friend that I was playing Sekiro, he gave me the best tip ever when playing the game. Instead of tapping block when a hit connects to deflect, hold down block and then release it as a hit connects. If you deflect it, you negate damage, and if you didn't time it right, you're more likely to take posture damage than health damage. Weapon arts make a return from Dark Souls 3 in the form of combat skills, and since you only have a single weapon for the entire game, Sekiro gets around this by allowing you to swap out which combat skill you want to use. Personally, I'm either using Mortal Draw for the free damage, or Ichimonji because it clears out the posture damage from your meter. Ninjutsu skills are great because they allow you to perform extra kills following a successful backstab. These skills make it easier to perform backstab chains, or draw aggro away from Sekiro, or give a sword an extended hitbox.
Three monkeys. One of the panels is empty.
I've been mentioning boss fights here and there, and I really enjoy the boss fights in Sekiro. More specifically, I love how I have the option to replay boss fights while resting at bonfires, instead of having to start a new game to reach the one boss I really want to fight again. I haven't beaten the game yet, but I can tell you that my two favorite bosses so far are Genichiro and the folding screen monkeys. Genichiro is such a fun rival fight, and I've gotten to the point where I know his entire moveset for every phase, and I'm just like Neo at the end of the Matrix when he styles on Smith. The folding screen monkeys are a creative gimmick boss fight that seems daunting at first, but if you're fast enough, you can totally catch the monkeys without having to force them into any scripted sequences. I like how, because the game is entirely single player, there's more emphasis on mini-bosses than there's ever been in past Souls games. Some of the bosses are just regular humans with 2 layers of health, and it feels like I'm fighting captains in a Musou-type game. My one major criticism with Sekiro's combat is that the icon for perilous attacks doesn't really do much to help me. There are 3 attacks that enemies can do that signal a perilous attack: a thrust, a grab, or a sweep. If an enemy does a thrust, you can do a Mirikiri counter that you unlock in your skills to dodge the attack and deal massive posture damage to the enemy. If an enemy does a sweep, you can enemy step over their heads to deal posture damage, but I've always felt that the return on that move to not be worth the effort. I'm not sure what you can do if an enemy does a grab, other than get the hell out of the way. I wish the game color-coded the icon for different perilous attacks. The game already does color coding to indicate when Sekiro gets hit with status ailments, like poison or shock. Besides the combat, the other big thing I love about Sekiro is that I don't have to fight all of the enemies on the map. Sekiro moves fast, and his prosthetic arm has a grappling hook that lets him latch onto anchor points and fling him across the map. This is the crazy thing about Sekiro. It has all these elements that you'd see from a AAA title. Tall grass stealth, Arkham-style grappling points, sticking to cover, and yet it still feels like a Souls game. It's actually a lot better in my opinion because the level design breaks up enemy placement so that each major area has sections that cordon off groups of enemies like in other stealth games. This means that triggering the alert for one group doesn't necessarily mean that you're screwed for the rest of the map. Admittedly, the AI has to have short-term memory and reset alert states once you leave a section in order for this to work, but it's a nice concession for the sake of some decent stealthing. And we got it all here. Backstabs, dive bombs, ledge kills, corner kills. This is the best Assassin's Creed I've played in a long time. There's one more issue that annoys me about the game. The action button has too many actions tied to it. That's a weird thing to say, right? It's an action button. Its whole purpose is to be a catch-all for any kind of action that's not mapped to dedicated controls. Well, the thing is, you can use the action button to interact with objects in the world, as well as catch or hang off ledges. If you hold it down, you can create a vacuum effect around Sekiro that sucks up nearby enemy drops. What gets annoying is that, if you want to pick up some loot, but you're near a ledge, you might either end up hanging off the ledge or climbing up. I feel like Sekiro should just automatically pick up any loot that drops instead of having to suck it up himself. Complaints aside, play Sekiro. Don't get too hung up over Dragon Rot when you get it the first time. Just follow a walkthrough that shows you what you need to do in order to undo it, and know that it's best to wait until you've got several people with Dragon Rot to clear with a single droplet.